Don't live too fast. Troubles will come and they will pass. Find you a woman and you'll find love. And don't forget that there's someone up above. And be a simple kind of man and find you something you love and understand. And be a simple kind of man. And if you do this for me, son, if you can, oh yes I will.
All right. So, what's your name?
My real name is Keith Gregory Frost. They call me Gator out here on the streets.
Oh, all right. Good to meet you, man. I'm happy
Nice
to be
meet
here.
you.
So, can I ask, how long have you been out here?
Oh, I really only truly became homeless where my mother had passed away. I no longer was able to stay in the back of the hair cutting salon. So that's been about 3.5 years now. But overall, almost 10 years or 11 years involved with the homeless camps. All the way from 1,000 acres all the way down to 82nd. I know all the camps and all the people.
When you say involved, what do you mean?
I mean that I've been trying to make a difference out here. Sometimes it's just counseling the people. Sometimes it's acting as a mouthpiece for the officers that come out and engage out here and try to talk to the people. And you know, they really sometimes have ulterior motives, but I don't care about that. I want to find a solution for the problems that we have out here.
Okay. So, can I ask, so what was the catalyst to make you homeless? Like, what happened?
My mother got struck and hit by a car crossing the road at Fred Meyer's in Gresham, right before Powell Valley Road. The lady never saw her. She whipped in front of into the turning lane as fast as she could, and unfortunately my mother was standing in front of the cars going into the entrance, and she was killed instantly. And so that's when I really truly became homeless. But I mean, I've been out in the homeless community where I really didn't have a home. I just sometimes would come home to my mother's shop, you know, and that's been 7 or 8 years at least.
So you were working with your mother?
No, but Mom always had a place for me to sleep in the back of the shop, you know, when it got cold. So part of what they asked me to do is to be a mouthpiece for the homeless community at large, because I have a gift of gab. I love speaking, and I'm very knowledgeable about a lot of subjects. And I study everything out here. And you'd think that I've worked hard all my life, and I've always been able just to overcome any obstacle, no matter what it was. And all of a sudden, I found that this hole was deep and it's slippery and hard to climb back out of, because I said, oh, I don't have no problem doing this. But it's been a stagnant 2.5, 3 years here. And my truck's been broke down. I have a truck that I bought from a wrongful death case from my mother. And it's been broke down for a while. And it's amazing how you get stuck. And I'm a person who never gets stuck. I don't believe in problems, I only believe in solutions. We're going to find it. So failure by making the wrong choice is only a step to the solution. So if you look at it as it's not failure, it's actually just a step necessary to find the solution that's going to work.
That's a good way to look at it.
Yeah.
I like that.
That was the motto of my company, is that there's no such thing as a problem, only the answers. And we're going to find it one way or another. Okay. So I tell them, roll up your sleeves. It's going to take money or time or effort or a combination, but we're going to find it. Okay. And so that tenacity has kind of helped a little in the homeless community, but the problem we have is enormous.
Yeah. So can you walk us through your average day? Like, what does Gator do with his average day? Okay,
so my average day, I usually come, I'm an early riser usually. Unfortunately, sometimes I don't even go to sleep, but you know, I walk the streets first. I've rolled down since I've been in a wheelchair for since Halloween, and I fell and injured myself again, and it's kind of kept me.
Last Halloween?
Yeah, and so I got out of the surgery last Halloween. They drilled into my hip joints and removed some infection. I'm a diabetic, and so we ended up to where I was wheeling myself around in a chair and sitting, and I was walking with a cane, and all of a sudden I fell back at the house where I was staying for some friends. God bless them for opening the doors to us, and we need more people like them. But I fell and re-injured it, so I've been in this wheelchair since I couldn't even do the wheelchair until it was like December. It was actually when I first started using a wheelchair. Of course, a lot of ice and snow. It's not really a great place to do physical therapy.
How did the hospital treat you? How was that process? Going through surgery?
Well, I've been to pretty much all the hospitals, but I prefer OHSU.
Yeah.
Good food. That's why. So I figured if I'm going to be in there for a while, I'm going to have good food and be happy. And that made me happy. So primarily, I have a problem with a couple of the hospitals, the way they treat the homeless in general.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
They have, okay. So like right down here, not far from us, by Mall 205, the hospital that I'll leave unnamed, it was terrible. They do not like to have the homeless people come into the emergency room, and they will do anything they can to hurry you out of there as fast as they can. And these people are supposed to be, Christian people in the church. That's what it's supposed to be. That's supposed to be nuns and stuff that started that.
But the church
and it's very sad. It's very sad that they have lost their way. Yeah, it's all about money now. The insurance that we see, great insurance. I love it. But don't think that that's not just a ploy for more money, because those doctors put you through every test they can put you through with being able to merit it. And so they're putting you through tons and tons and tons of tests, everything they can, so they can get as much money as they can. Yeah. So it's being ran like a corporation now, where a corporation can never be expected to do the right thing, only the most profitable thing. Yeah. And that's what these hospitals are doing. And they're revolving the doors, and they're cutting limbs off for the diabetics. Yeah. And it's really not necessary if you do the research. You find that there's a lot of alternatives besides that. Yeah. So our society today is a lot like that, where it seems like a lot of corporate mentality has kind of got into us. And as an owner-operator, when my company went through the housing crash, I kept my guys working for another year and a half past what I could, because there's no work. But I made work for these guys because they worked for a company for 22 years, and they deserved the loyalty from us that they gave to us. And so at the end, I lost a lot of money, and that's what got me out here. And I came out to take care of my mother. But I originally moved here in '79. It was a gorgeous state. Yeah. No garbage anywhere. Yeah. People were so friendly and helpful.
Yeah, and you've been here long enough to kind of see the decline.
Yeah, I've seen it a few times when I came back from Florida and flew out here to visit my mom. And I seen little things started to bother me, As there was trash laid around. They stopped. A lot of the water fountains they get turned off. Yeah. Where you used to be able to go get water fountain and drink in the park everywhere. And now they turn them up and say, the homeless people are abusing it. Well, who cares? That's what they're there for.
Yeah, you can't abuse water. That's wild.
It's for people to be there to use it. That's why it was put in there. And they're very selective, and they almost class us as a subhuman, So
that's another thing I want to talk, because we interviewed Heidi last. You know Heidi?
Yep, Heidi.
We interviewed her, and we went through some of her experiences with the homeless shelters. Yeah. Which got pretty fucked up.
I don't use the homeless shelters, and I won't go to the adult convalescent home. Like they wanted to put me there, and when I came out from the hospital, and I said no. I don't know. When you go to a homeless shelter, it expands the problem of homelessness. One of my pet peeves is I tell the homeless people, do not steal from another homeless person. Yeah. If you do, I'm going to come find you, because to steal from another person that's in suffering and misery is wrong. Yeah. And I tell them you shouldn't steal at all, but if you're going to steal, go steal from a corporation. And that's the only thing I can tell them.
Yeah, Target's right there. Target.
Go to a corporate store and take from corporate, because corporate America is taken from us. Yeah. And so if you feel that you're a necessity to steal, then by all means do corporate crime. I don't have a problem with it. I don't steal myself. I don't believe in it. I brought up in Southern morals, values, and I believe, I walk in this gray of society by choice, because only here can you be seen by the ones that are down below lost, and they think they're lost in darkness. Yeah. They only realize you have people all around you, and then the people that are up in the clouds and they got their nose turned up, well, they can see you when you're in the middle, and it's the only place. And so the true path that you need to walk is in the middle. Yeah. And so I'm here by choice, because I feel a great need to help. In fact, I made a vow to change this homeless situation.
Yeah, you called yourself the mouthpiece for the homeless community.
I am. I've been asked by the elders at Red Barn, as well as the Baptist Church in Gresham. Officially, that's where I first started. And I gave a little speech there, but I said, listen, I will do this, but I require certain things out of the homeless people themselves. Yeah. And no dirty camps. The dirty camps of the homeless is atrocious. Yeah. And it's uncalled for. the drug paraphernalia setting out in front of the camps, absolutely uncalled for. A kid come along, stumble along and get that, no, that's bad. And we have to be more vigilant in our own community as the homeless people. We have to make sure that we enforce those things. And we don't allow it to get in. If we come by that, we need to be vocal and tell them, hey, no, this isn't happening here. And if we have to, we'll move you along. But it's a difficult situation because they have no solution to this homelessness issue. And the shelters are not large enough, and they cannot hold the amount of homeless people that we have.
And they're not ran properly, for now.
They're definitely not ran properly. They pack them in there, and they let them steal from each other. And it's fighting and stealing and drug use and alcoholism. This is the thing is, I can understand what they say. Hey, if you're a drug addict or you're alcoholic, you need to stop that if you want to get a shelter. But really not, because this problem, it spans our whole continent, and every economic and diversity of any type is drug addiction. And see, the real issue is that happy people don't do drugs. If they were happy, they wouldn't need these escapes from reality. They wouldn't need to escape from this reality we have. And so the issue at large is, what are we going to do to bring the homeless people back into society? Because we have lost faith in society, as well as society has lost faith in us. And there's a great skill set out here. There's people with master's degrees out here that are homeless, that had wonderful jobs that just, they could not do the rat race anymore and believe in what they're trying to tell us and turn into little robots that they want us. And so the homeless people, I was trying to start a nonprofit, and my mission statement was going to be, I want to instill upon the homeless people that first check you ever got. You know, I was going to say that you can come and work whatever hours you want if it's available. It's little. We're not going to drug test unless you mess up at work. I don't care. The insurance companies are not going to rule us. And I want to pay a great wage, and I want to still upon them that first paycheck. I mean, mine was only like $83, you know, for a whole week. And I thought I was the richest guy in the world. I went and bought me a little bag of weed, and then I ran down to the Sizzler, and I bought me not only a salad bar, but I got me a steak with it too. And I thought, you know, and that enthusiasm of that, and the ability to show them that they work harder as a homeless person hustling than what they would at a regular job. And so a lot of the homeless people are stuck that they don't want to live inside. Well, that's okay too. We need to be more flexible in the way that we look at housing. And we need to take areas where we can put people in that has an outdoor feel to their housing. These people stay in tents and lean-tos, and they eat food out of the garbage. They have an amazing immune system, and I was told by the paramedics, we're the least likely to infect anybody with the COVID because we're an isolated group. And so people look at us and not even look at us. They want to just dismiss us. And it's really sad because it makes me cry. But you have to remember, with every person that does that, somebody will come along and give a donation of $100 to you or something, or just stop and say, hey, I want to let you know that we're thinking about you, you know? Do you need anything? And that'll change your opinion and say, hey, this place isn't that bad out here with the people that we have out here, because there's a lot of very kind, very generous people that are looking to help.
This is a subject I wanted to touch, because I talked about this with Heidi, because we talked about it earlier too. Like, as a homeless person, you're kind of invisible. So you see society in a different way. You get a different perspective. You're going to see the most evil, but you're also going to see the most good. The most generous and the most heinous, you know? They will not even, they don't want to look at you. They'll pay money. They'll hand you a tip like this because they don't even want to look at you. And some of them will throw it out your window and tell you, fetch dog. You know? And it's heartbreaking when that happens. I mean, it makes me cry sometimes. But when the person comes along and they tip me $100 bill for singing and said, I've been watching you out here. And to me, I don't ask for money. I put on there, can I sing you a song? And I have to give back to be able to receive. And I believe that that's a blessing. And so I've always said this. I get my friend sober said, you get up on your soapbox and you preach about how the blessing of a gift is the person who's giving the gift, because he has a chance to affect a fellow human being in their darkest hour and say, hey brother, I'm here. And you think that the person receiving the gift is the one that gets it, but no, the blessing is the person who's giving it. And so I told my friend, I said, I've always been the one that gave. I don't think I can. He says, you hold a sign, it's Christmas Eve, if you have dues one time a year, Gator, this is the time that people are giving. I don't know if I could do that sober. He said, you're a hypocrite. He said, because you always say that it's a blessing, and you're in need right now,
and you're robbing these people of their blessing. And I thought about it for a minute, and I thought, he's right. Because we have to have both sides of that. If you have an abundance, help a person out and give unconditionally. Because those are the gifts that change people. When you put a restriction on your gift when you're giving, the only thing you're really doing is you're making for sure they're not going to change. But if you touch their heart by giving a gift, and when I gave, I told them, brother, I don't care what you're going to buy with it. Go buy a 12-pack, whatever you want, and I hand them my money. Do whatever you want with it because it's your gift. It's yours now. I'm not putting any stipulations on it. And I've had people come back in Florida and tell me, you changed me right there. Because I had hope again. And that's what singing does for me. When I see the people smile, that's all I need. The money is a bonus that helps me out in life. But the charities out here are amazing. They drop food all the time to homeless. There's resources available. The churches have got back involved with their community, which I find quite refreshing because they kind of had lost their way. And it's not just their members in their congregation; it's the community at large. And they get out here and they just do what they used to do. They come and give to everyone unconditionally, And those people are the same way. They don't have conditions for their gifts. They know the problems that are out here. We all do. But those problems span our whole country. It's not just the homeless.
They do.
It's in the richest of the rich. Because sometimes, even though you have money, you're not happy.
The drug addicts too.
You're looking for escape from reality. That's what you're doing. You don't have to worry about it's cold or wet and I'm not dry, or that the guy's going to throw me off his front porch out here in a gated community or something, or in a restaurant area, and you're sleeping under the eaves because it's the only place dry. And you don't want to think about when the security's going to come by and throw you out at 5 or 6 in the morning.
Okay, so that's another thing I want, because we're touching a lot of I imagine when I'm going to do a lot of these interviews, and I imagine there's going to be motifs, like things that keep coming up.
Of course.
And I like how you're very positive. You think about the positivity, because it's so easy to think about the negativity and fall into it.
It is.
But, so you talked a lot about the positive, the people that give the $100 bill. Like, can you speak on the mentality of the people that crumple up the dollar and throw it? Like, what is wrong with them?
Those people are frustrated because the system isn't working, and they see the people on the side, and they have, they feel for them, but the general view of society is that the homelessness and the begging of them is wrong, and so even though they feel that they need to give because they have an abundance, they do it in a cruel fashion because it's not acceptable by society standards for them to not be that way. And so they crumple it out and throw it out so they can play both sides of the coin. But I've worked hard for it all my life. And I've had a terrible tragedy of the diabetes, and I'm missing toes. And so I can't stand to do the job I used to do. It's impossible for me to do. But thank God I found singing again, because that passion of singing is what gives me hope out here. And people pull up and I say, you don't have to give them nothing. They say, I don't have money. You don't have to give them nothing. Smile. And sometimes they come up mocking you. And they're laughing at you. And I tell them, I say, hey, what do you like to listen to then? I'll sing any song. But look, I've already succeeded in my goal. You've came off that freeway where you're mad and angry, and you're laughing. It doesn't matter if you're laughing at me. I've changed your attitude coming up that freeway. That's how we change the way people look at each other. That's the way we change it. I tell the homeless people, stop making it about pity. Change the area around you into a peaceful, happy, laughing area, and get rid of this, save me, I have such a horrible life. Give them back something to make them feel, wow, I'm smiling, I just got off the freeway, I've been cut off 5 times, I've been flipped off a couple times, I almost got into a wreck, and I'm furious and I'm driving like an idiot. And when you can change that on those corners, when the homeless people hold those signs, they change it and do something, and give back to them, and make it a peaceful, happy feeling. That's just how I look at it. And we have to come back to the point where we have to be involved more in society in general. We can't just go to our tents and lock ourselves away. We have to be part of society, and then that stigma of not wanting to look at us will be gone, because I know there's companies out there that possibly they can't do it because of insurance regulations. They have to pass a drug test. Federal jobs have to pass drug tests. But I know that there's companies out there. I used to do this for my job when I was young. I'd come up to a job site. I said, listen, sir, I'll do anything I need to get a job. You can put me in any type of job. You want me to dig holes? I'll dig holes until you tell me to stop digging holes. I'll do whatever it is. You want me to clean the bathrooms? Okay, I'll clean the bathrooms. There's tons of people out here who have this hunger. They want to get out of this. It's not something the majority of them want to be in and part of.
Damn near none of them. None of them want.
Well, there are a few that just don't want to go back inside. They don't believe in our society. You're going to have those few people. That's okay. Let them be. The majority of the people want a chance to get out of this. And so some of these big companies would say, even a private-owned company is the best. And he comes out there and says, all right, this is the deal. I got 25 positions. I know that sometimes you guys aren't going to come to work. I know it's going to be hard and difficult. I know you're going to miss days. I know you're going to have excuses. I don't care. I'm dedicated into bringing you back into society. I'm going to keep you working. If you have a drug issue, we're going to give you counseling. And we're going to solve this. And those that are willing to work, come with me right now. And it would eliminate 90% of this homeless population out here. That, and we have to understand, Oregon is terrible about property taxes. Everybody bitches about the property, about the rent. Well, you know what? When you're paying $700, $600 in property tax every month, on top of your mortgage that you have to pay for that home, yeah, you can't afford to rent that home for less than $1,700. But a common person that's not doing the tech industry, even with the elevated wages, cannot, with one person, carry the bills for that home, let alone with two. Sometimes it takes more. Sometimes it takes a double unit of male and female, so you got 2 men and 2 women living in the same house to make enough money to be able to pay the bill sets tonight, and that's to change. You know, the state of Oregon needs to realize that and lower the tax on housing and stuff and ownership of properties, with the understanding that this is what is restricting our ability to rent to the low-income people, because they have no choice, because they cannot make enough money to rent these homes as high as they are. And so I was lucky. I was in the construction industry all my life. I know how it works. I see it. And, you know, this is a major issue for out here, the reason why the rent's so high. And I'm telling people over and over, and they say, oh, no, it's because it's directly because of the tax money that you have to pay every month in your home. And when you rent it, it's the same thing. And it's overbearing. It's not going to work that way. So you want to end the homeless situation? Get individuals out there, their own companies, and say, hey, we're filling 50 positions today. I don't care if you smell. Try to be on work every day. If you can't, it's okay. We're going to be lenient with you. If you need counseling for the drugs, we'll counsel you for drugs. You know, England had a wonderful program. The government said, okay, you're a drug addict. We're going to register you as a drug addict. We're going to give you counseling. And we're going to put you in classes to lower your drug use to a respectable level. All right? And then we're going to give you clean drugs that we can provide you at a low cost, because we can provide them at a low cost. It's only because they're illegal and they're dirty and it can make you sick and all these things. And then you have that combined with the high cost. And that's what locks drug use down. And we got to stop this stuff like the fentanyl is a serious issue.
Killing people.
It's not in killing people. The addiction is going crazy right now. The people that were doing heroin, that were doing $150 of heroin, they started out on those pills, and they smoke them, and all of a sudden they're only spending $30 a day, and they were making money just to get a $150 habit. So all of a sudden they had a little money. But the problem is that it's a trap beyond belief, because they slowly start to get, you need more and more and more fentanyl, and then you try to get more powerful one, and by smoking them, not by eating them or shooting them. They don't do that. Just by smoking them, we have people dying everywhere. And the Narcan kits, they don't work on them. You have to hit them 4 or 5 times with the Narcan to make them come back alive, you know.
So is this the new drug prevalent in the communities right now?
Right now, it is definitely the one that's sweeping through the community. Not only the feds, but the local government. Those pills are not considered part of the deregulation of drugs and decriminalization. Fentanyl pills are still a felony for each one. And so we have to realize that we allowed fentanyl to be shipped to this country from China before we realized how powerful it really was. There's another one coming out. It's even more powerful than fentanyl by 100 times. And it's going to kill a lot of people. And so we have to get rid of this terrible gloom that we have over our society. And even people that are just low income or middle income, they feel it. It's an oppression that just weighs on us. And we have to get these homeless people involved in projects and working so that they don't have the time to do drugs.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes in my life where I'd saved the most was when I had no time to do anything except I come home, go to sleep, get up, and go to work.
Yeah.
And it consumed my day. And by doing that, it kept me from drugs, as well as it made me save money. I didn't go around and frivolously spend it. And I saved it like I was supposed to, and I was able to get a home and a lot of other things.
Yeah.
So the key is we're going to have to roll up our sleeves and get busy.
Yeah.
And you're going to have to keep yourself busy to keep yourself off these drugs.
Yeah.
You work hard enough, you'll get to the point where, like in Florida, a good day was when I worked so hard that at the end of the day, I had this wonderful, satisfying feeling that I accomplished something. But I was so tired, I'd fall asleep sometimes on the drive home. My uncle driving the truck, and I'd fall asleep in the truck on the way home because I was so tired. There's something to be said about that.
Yeah,
and it cures a lot of stuff, you know.
Yeah.
And for me, it's singing. Singing changes everything.
Well, I love you. All right, I don't want to take too much of your time.
No, it's okay, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
And please come back and interview me again.
I would love to talk to you
I have a
again.
lot of information about the homeless community.
Yeah.
I have a lot of ideas that might possibly work.
Yeah.
If you guys come across anybody who's an underwriter for nonprofit charities, I have my mission statement. I need some startup funding from the grants from the government, which are available.
Well, you're the mouthpiece, man. We're gonna try and get this shit out here. I want a lot of people to see you talk. I want people to hear everybody's voice.
Awesome, because that's what I'm looking for. Is I'm looking for something. My one last shot. You know, I'm 53 now. I got one good one left in me, and I know how to make a company run. I know how to make money and a lot of it, and to generate money for the homeless community and I know how to spend it. Because throwing money at that problem like they do now, it does nothing.
Yeah, has to be used right.
It'd be much better if they use it correctly. And those answers you're going to find from inside the homeless community itself.
Yeah.
That's where I believe the answers are coming.
Man. Shake my hand.
Yep.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
My friend. It's a pleasure to be with you guys.
You
You can find me down here.
We're going to see you.